Welcome to Hair by Sonia, where hair transformation begins. Whether you're looking for a fresh cut, bold color, or a complete makeover, Sonia and her expert team have you covered. At Hair by Sonia, we believe every client deserves to feel confident and beautiful. That's why we use only the best products and techniques tailored just for you. From the moment you walk in, you'll experience personalized care and a relaxing atmosphere designed to pamper you. Our clients love their results. Just look at these amazing transformations. Join our family of satisfied clients and discover why Hair by Sonia is the go-to salon for your hair needs. Ready for a change? Book your appointment today and let us bring out the best in your hair. Hair by Sonia. Love your hair. Love yourself. She says sports. She say sports. She say sports. She say sports. She say sports. Hey y'all, it's your girl Sonia and welcome back to She Say Sports. Please welcome back host of Inside the HBCU SportsLab, SWAC Digital play-by-play voice, and Sideline Reporter, Charles Bishop. What's up, Bish?
Hey, what's going on, Sonia? Great to be back on. Talk a little bit of ball with you.
Absolutely. Hey, SWAC football play is in full effect, really all college football and NFL, so we are excited and happy. So, Charles, what's been going on with you? We hadn't talked since, I think, baseball. So
I know, right? Geared up for football season. I mean, we're in the mix of it right now. I mean, we've got some great SWAC action. We've got some great HBCU football going on. But I mean, it's been kind of topsy-turvy here in the early going. But as we slowly build momentum through September, you start getting little breadcrumbs, little data points, and you kind of start trying to get a little fix on teams because I said coming out of SWAC Media Day, there were a lot of great unknowns. I mean, when you take a look and it's kind of played itself out in terms of not really knowing who was going to be starting quarterbacks. We've already seen quarterback changes at Alcorn. We've seen quarterback changes due to injury at Alabama State. We've seen some quarterback changes at North Carolina Central due to injury. But, I mean, there were a lot of unknowns coming into this season, and especially when you're talking about in the age of NIL. So a lot of roster turnover. So you almost have to, and I said this, you have to get through the first 3 or 4 games before you really start getting a fix on teams. But I think we're slowly but surely getting
there. Okay. Well, I was just asking how your summer was, but great way to I love it. I love it.
Played a lot of golf. Great summer.
that's all the time for you. But no, I'm glad you mentioned all of that because we are going to talk about some quarterback action that's going on at JSU. So let's get into it, Charles. As you mentioned, we are in week 4 of SWAC football play, and we're seeing some exciting football. Won't you agree?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think when you kind of separate things out, you have teams playing some FBS opponents, some teams playing quote unquote down the Division II opponents. But like I said, you're starting to get little small breadcrumbs as we matriculate through September, and we're starting to figure out who some teams are.
That's true. So today we're going to talk about one particular game and 2 teams, Jackson State versus Southern University this past weekend. As you know, Southern is our biggest SWAC rival to date.
Don't tell people from Alcorn that.
They're our Mississippi rival. Southern is our biggest overall. And I mean, I'm sorry, Alcorn, y'all not. And even Alabama be saying that we're their biggest rival. No, we're not.
Nah.
Where you come from? But anyway, Southern leads the series 35-34. And on this past Saturday, the Tigers beat the Jags 33-19. The last 5 meetings, JSU have been victorious. The 3 of those wins was under Coach Prime's era, and the last 2 have been under Coach T.C. Taylor's era. How did the coaching strategies differ for both eras between Southern and JSU?
From both eras, I think there's some similarities in terms of you see both teams are very physical in terms of defensively. Jackson State, we're talking about Coach Prime's era, 2022, that run defense was historical. Points per game, historical in terms of you have to go back all the way to 1977, I believe, when you talk about defenses that were able to stop the run and points per game. So you have that, but the similarity, I believe, with TC's team is this is a very good defense. They're very physical. We've seen this for the first 3 games. Jackson State played up against Louisiana Monroe, FBS team, but they weren't pushed around. And I think that was the big take that I took away from that game. They did what they were supposed to do against Lane, Division II team. And I say that with the caveat, previously we've seen Jackson State lose to a SIAC team when they went to Circuit City Classic, lost to Kentucky State. So in my mind, that's a big win in terms of doing what you're supposed to, taking care of business, hitting a fly with a sledgehammer, if you will, in terms of whooping Lane. You get another breadcrumb this past week in terms of Jackson State really dominating Southern. I think the score is not indicative of how dominant Jackson State was in this game. When you talk about a Jackson State defense that limited Southern to only 29 yards rushing, they became one-dimensional in terms of they had to throw the ball to try to get any movement whatsoever. But the game, I think, was already academic at that point. I think you see some sugar yards, if you will, in the late third quarter, fourth quarter. But that was a very dominant performance by Jackson State's defense.
It really was. And we had no penalties until, I think, the fourth quarter. That's when, what was that all about?
No, I think it was a clean game for the most part. I mean, and I think that was something that you see with Jackson State. You take a look at Jacoby Morgan, his stats. I think this is a big thing. Did not turn the ball over. He was 12 of 21, 153 yards of a touchdown. But I think Jackson State might have lost one fumble, if I'm not mistaken. But the takeaway from that game was, and I think you're starting to see sort of the hallmark of what TC likes to see with regards to Jackson State offense. They're gonna run the football, and he has a lot of toys to play with in the backfield. When you talk about guys like Irv Mulligan, Ahmad Miller, Travis Terrell, J.D. Martin, who is like a Swiss Army knife. He can do a little bit of everything, run in between the tackles, bounce it outside, catch the ball out of the backfield. But he has a lot of toys to play with regards to running the football. And when you have to, and when you start paying attention to the running game and it sucks in those safeties, play action and over the top. We've seen guys like Jonas Fertillion have big games, Isaiah Spencer as well, the Madison Central product. So, like I said, you're starting to get sort of a snapshot of what this Jackson State team is starting to become. And they get a stern test this upcoming weekend when they take on Grambling. So I think that's going to be a really good game.
Yeah. And, one of my questions I was going to ask you, well, and I'll get to that. You kind of answered some of it just now, but I'll get to that. How did home field advantage play a role in this matchup?
Let me take my hat off to Jackson State's game day operations. That atmosphere was electric. When you talk about the pyrotechnics, when you talk about, and you know how I am on third down, involving the crowd. With the video scoreboard, with the DJ. I mean, the game day atmosphere was perfect. Shout out to Jackson State's student body who kept noise up all game. And it was, I think that was the uniqueness, because we don't always see this in an HBCU game where the fans are in tune from first down to fourth down. And I thought Jackson State, from a game day atmosphere perspective, phenomenal job.
And let's not forget how we all sang Frankie Beverly.
Yeah, you can't forget that. Exactly.
That was amazing. And before I let go, I mean, rest in peace, Frankie, one of your favorite singers, in all the world. I was the one that broke the news to you last week of his passing, and it touched both of us because I opened for him in '94, and like I said, you are a huge fan. So singing that and listening to those voices was truly, as you say, phenomenal. It was amazing.
Yeah, when you go back and even look at the broadcast, when they come back from break, you can still hear the fan base singing before I let go. So, I mean, like I said, just kudos to that game day operations staff. Like I said, they did a tremendous job, and it's not easy at an HBCU game to intertwine the DJ and the band. And Jackson State has done a tremendous job, not only of doing that, but the triplicate of the video board, where you have all of those elements at work. And like I said, it was a phenomenal atmosphere. And you even had Southern fans who were commenting, and fans around the HBCU sporting environment who really commented on just watching that game on television was amazing. But to be there in person, and I've said this for I've said this for a long time now. Jackson State Southern, or the Boombox Classic, if you will, has to be a bucket list item if you are a fan of HBCU football, because there is nothing like that environment. And again, it's not a per se classic. It's just a tremendous rivalry. I was talking to an individual who that was his first chance to watch Jackson State and Southern, and he equated it to historically white college in terms of Texas, Oklahoma, where you have a border rivalry, or Alabama, LSU, where you have a border rivalry. That's what you have in Jackson State Southern. It is a tremendous border rivalry, and it extends beyond football fan to two of the most arrogant fan bases that I know. And of course, the bands. I mean, when you have bands who are what I call muscular bands, they love a good challenge. And for them to get in front of each other, it only brings out the best in each one of them. I mean, and that was a phenomenal zero quarter, phenomenal fifth quarter. I'm still going back, looking at it and catching.
I'm going to bring up the band. Stop.
Gotcha.
I mean, you're getting excited because I know how you feel about both as I do. So just pull it back. And don't forget, Cedric the Entertainer and Anthony Anderson was there.
Yeah.
And they participated in the halftime show, doing some things with the band at the end. So it was great. And usually that game is more than 32,000. However, Hurricane Francine hit Louisiana pretty bad last week, and a lot of the fans did not come because of that. So, but it was still an amazing crowd. It was electrifying. It was great. And like Charles said, game operation, I was an intern with Jackson State a few years back, and that was my job, doing game operations. So I know how hard that is, and to make sure the fans get involved. So kudos again, like you said, to game operation Travis Jerome and the team. They did an amazing job. So Charles, moving on, who were the statistical leaders for both teams in this game? I know it's kind of early to kind of figure that out, but just for this game alone, not overall.
I think Irv Mulligan coming back to Jackson State's lineup, that was huge for Jackson State. He rushed 13 times for 51 yards in this game. Ahmad Miller, he is an electric running back. You remember his older brother Aubrey was on Jackson State's team, tremendous linebacker. But Ahmad is an athlete who can really, he can turn on the jets, and we saw that on a little a sprint option action where he was able to get around the corner and go in for a touchdown. He rushed 3 times for 35 yards. Then you have the sort of the little scat back in Travis Terrell, 6 carries, 34 yards. J.D. Martin, I mentioned him. I call him, Swiss Army knife. He does a little bit of everything. He had 12 carries, 33 yards. And that doesn't even talk about what the quarterbacks are able to do with their legs. I mean, Jacobian Morgan and Cameron McCoy, who got hurt early in this game, but they both have the ability to pull the ball down and take off and get bonus yards, if you will.
Mm-hmm. What about Southern? Did you see any leaders in their group?
Yeah, well, you had Noah Biden. Noah Biden for Southern, he was 17 of 29, 352 yards. But I think a lot of his passing yards you saw in the latter parts of the third quarter, fourth quarter. The game was already in the balance, if you will. But he had 17 of 29, 352 yards. Xavier Tissett, he started the game. He was injured, but he won 6 of 10 for 35 yards. But I think the surprising thing about that game and what we've seen from Southern in previous versions of Southern, at least, is they have the ability to run the ball. They were not able to run the ball in this game. Kendrick Grimes only 18 yards. C.J. Russell only 9 yards. Kobe Dillon, he only had 5 yards on 4 carries. Like I said, that Jackson State defense, they won at the line of scrimmage, both on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball, and they really made Southern very one-dimensional.
Awesome. So, Charles, how did the performance of each team's special teams impact the result?
I think there were a couple times where, and we know Jackson State with regards to Mano, he's able to do a great job of pinning teams down inside the 10-yard line. I think he had another great punt, and you'll see him, if I'm not mistaken, in the top 5, at least in terms of punting average in the SWAC thus far. Still a lot of season to go, but he's going to have an opportunity to really cut loose, if you will, with regards to punting. But something that we kind of take for granted when we take a look at football, but it's something you have to pay attention to with regards to HBCU football, the special team. Jackson State's solid in terms of points after touchdown, which are automatic points in my mind that you have to have. But that operation was a little scary last year because you had field goal kickers. They went down last year due to injury, but they did a good job in this game of putting points up. I think only one missed point after touchdown.
Yeah, there was only one. That's awesome. So, Coach T.C. Taylor, you mentioned Cameron McCoy and Jacobian Morgan earlier. He is in the process of announcing who will be the starting quarterback. How do they match up in your opinion, the two quarterbacks?
To me, their skill set is very similar. So I think the big thing with either one of them is protecting the football. I think that's going to be huge in terms of week to week who you TC has a comfortability with. Jacobian, I think, did a great job coming in after Cameron was injured in this game. And he protected the football and he took what the defense was giving him. And then, like I said, when that running game is up and going, it opens up other aspects of Jackson State's offense. And I think a forgotten aspect, if you will, could be the tight end, a guy like Marvin Landy. We've seen him now with some big catches running up the seam, but it's because of the running game. It sucks in the safeties and he takes off right in behind. So Marvin Landy had another touchdown in this game. Again, another seam route where the play action sucks in the linebacker, sucks in the safeties, and he's able to be open. So I think for you take a look at them, to me, both of them have a similar skill set, but it comes down to the quarterback that does a good job of protecting the ball. I think Cameron probably a little faster, if you will. And we saw that early in that game against Southern in terms of pulling it down and RPO action, things of that nature, and taking what the defensive end was going to give him and getting around the corner. But unfortunately, he got injured. But he did have a couple of nice throws before giving way to Jacoby Morgan.
Okay. And, speaking of his injury, I believe it was yesterday, Coach said that Cameron is good and could be ready for Saturday, but still didn't say who would start. And speaking of Saturday, as you mentioned, we will be traveling to Grambling University on Saturday. 6 p.m. is the kickoff. Both teams are 2-1. Do you have any assessment on this matchup and who wins?
Well, obviously, I'm going to be rooting for Jackson State in this game, but Miles Crawley comes into this game preseason SWAC Offensive Player of the Year. He is an individual who has the ability to make some great throws downfield. We've seen that from Miles Crawley. Big win. They went on the road this past weekend and got a huge win against Texas A&M Commerce. And I always say anytime you get those out-of-conference wins, especially from a regional standpoint, when you're playing Southland Conference teams, wherever they are in the standings, it's big for recruiting purposes and things of that nature. And let's just be honest, we have not always seen SWAC teams especially go to Southland Conference venues and get W. So Grambling with a big win last week on the road, overtime win. They was able to seal it with a late game interception. But I think this game, again, it comes down to Jackson State, can you get to Miles Crowley? I think one of the things that I've seen thus far, Jackson State already 9 sacks on the season. They have the ability to turn up the pressure and get to the quarterback, and that's going to be huge again for attempting to sort of southern this game, make my Grambling one-dimensional, and that way, if you stop the run, guys like Trey Bradford, Catravian Hargrove for Grambling, if you can stop them from running the football and make them one-dimensional, that swings things into the favor of Jackson State.
Okay, absolutely. Well, we'll be looking forward to that game, checking it out, and seeing how that unfolds. Like you, I am rooting for JSU Tigers, so we'll see how that goes.
Well, I like to stay neutral, Sonya. So I will say it's going to be a good game. So by all means, yeah, root for Jackson State by all means. But I think it'll be a really good game.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be. I agree. I understand being neutral, but nah, I'm good. So, Charles, we're going to move back to Southern. A Southern fan has some thoughts on Coach T.C. Taylor and him being part of the true culture of JSU, meaning W.C. Gordon, Big Daddy, Coach Hughes. You know, he was talking about the statement he made was comparing Coach Taylor's team and coaching to Coach Prime's era. Were you able to get a chance to look at that video?
I've heard something about it. I will say this, and I think it's important to say it. I'm not going to Black Sox the Coach Prime era. I mean, there's a reality to the fact that Jackson State won SWAC championships in 2021 and 2022. That is not forgotten by me. I will say this iteration of Jackson State is a very good football team. There's a lot of season to be played yet. So in terms of crowning Jackson State right now, I mean, I think there's still a lot more football to be played, but the history books say that 21 Jackson State team, that 22 Jackson State team were really great Jackson State teams. And I mentioned earlier, in some ways, especially when you take a look at Jackson State's defense in 22, it was one of the, and this is just statistically proven, one of the greatest defenses in Jackson State history. So I'm always mindful of that because prior to Coach Brown, we were not in the upper echelon of the SWAC. I mean, we were a fan base hoping, wishing, and praying, and it wasn't coming no time soon. And so you have to give credit where credit is due. That staff came in, they worked hard, and they changed the culture around of Jackson State for us to remember what it used to be. So I think that's very, that has to be said.
Oh, absolutely. And I totally agree with you. However, do you think he was just saying it because Coach Taylor actually went to Jackson State and he came from that culture? I mean, that's how I was looking at it, but I totally agree with what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Coach Taylor, he is homegrown Jackson State guy. And I mean, that speaks volumes. But like I said, we're still looking. I think there's still data points that we have to attribute to where TC is. He's very young into his tenure here at Jackson State. But yeah, I mean, when you're talking about a Jackson State guy through and through, absolutely, TC Taylor is a Jackson State guy through and through, and it remains to be seen whether this is a Jackson State team that is a throwback to a time period we all know and love. We conveniently skip over the SWAC championship era and run right back to the 80s and 90s. And I understand it. I understand that as a Jackson State fan. I mean, I do it as well. But like I said, I'm not going to Black Sox the Coach Prime era. And I think, unfortunately, however you feel about Coach is, Jackson State fans have that right or whatever the case might be. But you won SWAC championships in 2021 and 2022.
And he did. Yes, he did. And we're thankful for it. I know I am. So, Charles, one last question. Sonny Boom of the South or the Human Jukebox? Who won that band matchup on Saturday?
Hey,
be honest, Charles.
This was the epitome of Ali Frazier. And I will say, you know, Ali had the jab working, right cross working, Frazier had a left hook working. So this is and
so
from
who was Ali? Are you saying Ali? Are you saying Ali was the jukebox?
Oh, I'm saying Ali is Sonny Boom. So I'm
Ali guy.
Sure. But I'm just saying both traded some tremendous blows, and I was down there on the field and I was blown away at and you know, I've never played an instrument. I understand musicality. So, but I mean, both bands, I mean, like I said, they were muscular in their sound. And you know, I'm a Jackson State alum. I'll go Boom. But I will say that the social media, they've gone back and forth on this because I think Southern had their moments, Jackson State had their moments. But shout out to Dr. Little and Southern's band director. They put on a show. They put on a show for the culture. I can't say that enough. And again, Jackson State, the Sonic Boom of the South over the past few years, you know, they've swiped that belt from quote unquote who they say is the standard. I will definitively say that. Yeah, they are heads and tails, I think, right now, the preeminent HBCU band out there. I know there's a competition at the end of the year at the Celebration Bowl where they went against North Carolina A&T. But I tell you, for a band who battles week in, week out with other SWAC schools, not only do they hold their own, but they take it somewhere else. So Dr. Little, I take my hat off to he and his band program because they are doing a phenomenal job. Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, unlike you, I was a music major. I played violin for 12 years, so I have played a musician. I mean, I have played an instrument, and my voice is one. However, me and Charles have conversations all the time, y'all, and we have to say it. We have to do it privately because some of our friends want to fight us how we feel about the jukebox. Now, I cannot stand Southern. I hate Southern, but that band, since 1991, I have loved them. And Saturday, when they played "Can You Stop the Rain" in the stands, a tear came to my eye. I can't explain it. It's just, it does something to my heart. The horns, everything is just like precise. Now, I heard a couple of bad notes here and there, but for the most part, it was really, really, really good. And both teams did so well. Oh, I know. People are going to be calling me, texting me.
Hey, I've learned I stay out of band arguments. I have learned and learned.
No, you don't. No, you don't. But see, and that's the thing. See, he a chicken when it comes. He'll call me and talk about it and send me videos.
I don't cross band heads. I don't cross band heads. They are no, thank you.
No, I'm not going to cross band heads. I won't do that. But I'm going to tell the truth. They were amazing. And when people were booing them, I was like, I know you lied. That was me at the game. You a lie. That's not true.
I mean, it was a phenomenal performance. And like I said,
except when they did the two songs that Jackson State starts off at the beginning. That's when I booed them. So I didn't.
Oh, you have to. Yeah.
I booed them with that. But it sounded good too. I was like, ooh. So, Sonic Boom, I love you. I love you. The Southern Human Jukebox is my second favorite.
All the hate text to Sonya Stamps. I
don't care. I can handle it. Delete or respond. I mean, hey, I can do it. Charles, thank you so much for joining me today. before we go, as you know, we have a game that we play. What do you
Oh,
know?
okay.
So today we're gonna do some SWAC football trivia,
Ooh.
and it'll be some. Yeah, I think it's all SWAC football. But it's pretty interesting, and some of the stuff I was like, it was pretty nice. But what is the name of the annual football classic played between Howard University and Morehouse College?
Oh, that was this past weekend. That's a new classic. So,
But what kind of classic?
New York Classic.
I just said the name. What was the trivia about?
What, the Black Ivy League Classic?
No, HBCU classic.
Oh, man, it was the HBCU classic. Okay. You know, Howard and Morehouse
Black
kind of
Ivy League.
yeah, they kind of distinguish themselves.
Yeah, I said we just said it. We never said anything about Black Ivy. It's so silly. Which HBCU school won the first NCAA Black College Football National Championship in 1978?
Florida A&M.
Correct.
Yeah, they won that wasn't Black College. They won the whole kit and caboodle. They won
No.
the
This
NCAA
is
championship.
Grambling won this one. Grambling won this one.
1978.
The first. That's what it said. Yeah, I googled it.
Oh, you said Black College National Championship.
Black College Football National Championship. Not the other one that FAM won.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which HBCU is known for its annual Southern Classic played in Memphis, Tennessee? Who is known? I mean, I know you know it, but some people don't.
Yeah. I mean, that's the Southern Heritage Classic, Tennessee State, and Jackson State this past year. It was
Correct.
Tennessee State and UAPB. Yeah.
Right, and I put that on there because, Eddie George has put out something last week about Jackson State, trying to get Jackson State back. A lot of the fans are like, please come back to Memphis. It's not the same. I didn't even know the Classic was this past weekend. Wasn't it this past weekend? Because of what I was reading on social media. So that's why I put it on there, because they're begging for us to come back. However, it needs to be split evenly down the middle if they want us back. So there you have it. Which HBCU football program was the first to integrate its football team, breaking racial barriers in collegiate sports?
Let's go with Graham.
No. The University of the District of Columbia, formerly known as Federal City College. Hey, sir, I'm not saying you're going to know everything, but it's HBCU trivia. Stop it.
Wait a second. University of who?
The University of the District of Columbia, formerly known as Federal City College. Hey, sir, it's in DC. Whatever. I mean, I don't know either.
Hello, Chat GPT. Wow.
No, that was not Chat GPT. That was actual just Google. Which HBCU football program has produced NFL stars such as Walter Payton, Jerry Rice, and Steve McNair? Which HBCU football program?
Walter Payton, Jackson State, Jerry Rice, Mississippi Valley. Who was third, you said?
Steve McNair.
Oh.
Thank you. Which HBCU's football team is known for its famous Big Blue defense and plays its home games at the Hole Stadium?
So with Tennessee State.
Hampton University.
You do know Tennessee State Stadium, they call it the Hole too. Hale Stadium.
Oh really? Well, they call their famous Big Blue defense?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Google said Hampton University.
Or Google.
Don't be mad at me. Which SWAC institution is known for its notable alumni, including NFL Hall of Famer Shannon Sharp?
Savannah State.
Thank you. Why you gotta ask me? Why you from?
These way random HBCU trivia.
Because we always do SWAC. I want to do something different. Cut it out. Which HBCU has the most NFL Hall of Famers? Duh. You know that one.
Let's go with Jackson State.
That is correct, sir. Oh my gosh. We'll talk later.
How many NFL Hall of Famers went to HBCUs?
It's a great number. I'm not sure.
You know what? You're being very, everybody else have fun with the game. You, Mr. Whatever. Currently, there are 35 HBCU alumni from 17 different HBCUs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Last but not least, since you're so perturbed, has an HBCU player ever won the Heisman?
Yeah.
Who was invited to New York for the Heisman Award ceremony?
Steve.
Thank you so much, Charles. Oh my gosh. Thank you for playing along with what you know. Tell the listeners how they can follow you, whatever. I almost did something with my fingers. Tell the listeners how they can follow you.
Yeah, you can catch me on Dr.
On
Bill's.
social media. And listen to
catch me on Dr. Bill's Inside the HBCU SportsLab Tuesdays, Thursdays, and we do a Sunday morning. Recap all that happened with regards to HBCU football. And you can also catch me this upcoming season. I'll be doing Southern football games on SWAC Digital. So.
Awesome. And guys, you can follow me at She Say Sports on Facebook, She Say Sports 23 on Instagram, and please subscribe to our YouTube page, She Say Sports. Well, that's my show for today. Until next time, this is Sonia and Charles with the Attitude Bishop with She Say Sports.